We are reading from the Yogasutras, and this is our Yoga Sutra class number 9, and we are still discussing aphorism numbers 18 onwards in the first chapter. And our today's highlight is the climax of Asamprajñata Samadhi. We have learnt a lot about the Samprajñata Samadhi. We have entered the field of Asamprajñata Samadhi. Now it is time for the meditator to stop all such vrittis which are conditioned by objects. We have learned that Nirodha is called Samadhi. Nirodha means stopping. This can be achieved by abhyasa and vairagya, or practice and giving up. So long in the process of reaching the last or the sixth stage of Samadhi, called Sasmita Samadhi, we have practiced object-oriented vrittis. Now when we are in the Asamprajñata Samadhi, it is time for the meditator to give up all such object-oriented vrittis. This is called vairagya or detachment. Now we have to practice this detachment. According to the Gita, as we have already seen, giving up means completing the whole journey of the Samprajñata Samadhi, or the lower type of Samadhi, 6 Samadhis, and then reaching the 6th milestone. And now we move further. Swami Vivekananda uttered a word of caution in this respect. When you are in the field of Asamprajñata Samadhi, that is the highest Samadhi, Swami Vivekananda has a few words of caution. When persons without training and preparation try to make their minds vacant, this is quotation from Swami Vivekananda, they are likely to succeed only in making the mind dull and stupid, and think that they are making a vacuum of the mind. To be able to really do that is to manifest the greatest strength, the highest control. That is what is called Paravairagya by Patanjali. Extreme Vairagya means renunciation. Generally, we do not think that we are that extraordinary. So we will go by regular control. There are 2 types of these samadhis. As we have indicated, this Asamprajñata Samadhi is a process that will lead us to the culmination of self-freedom by eliminating the habit of incessant self-denial. By eliminating the habit of incessant self-denial. So it is of 2 types, Bhava Pratyaya and Upaya Pratyaya. These are aphorisms number 19 and 20. Patanjali advised the practice of Paravairagya or extreme non-attachment as the means to make this Asamprajñata Samadhi not only complete but also strong, durable. Bhava Pratyaya, Bhava means worldly existence of an individual soul or jiva, which is caused by repeated births, repeated deaths and repeated sufferings. Pratyaya means the cause. Bhava means repeated birth and death. So Bhava Pratyaya together means the cause of repeated births. What is the cause? It is the ignorance of ours to differentiate between what is real or Atman and what is unreal or Anatman, not Atman. Since some minds cannot practice extreme non-attachment, there is every chance that they are misled by temptations. Two types of minds which have already advanced in the practice of Samprajñata Samadhis, like Sananda and Sasmita, are victims to temptations. One of them is the Videha, who have transcended the stage of gross and subtle objects by practicing Sananda Samadhi. They did not proceed further or have taken a break, so to say, to enjoy the bliss of Sananda Samadhi, taken an outspurt or exit and enjoying a cup of tea. So they are available for temptations, like the commercial ads come in when they see that you are available. And the others are the Prakritilaya, who have merged in the states of different gods at the stage of Sasmita Samadhi. The Asamprajñata Samadhi that is attained even by these two types of yogis is called Bhava Pratyaya Samadhi. They attain to this Samadhi either by the help of a particular privileged birth, or by the use of some special medicines, or by the practice of some mantras, or by doing some unusual yogic spiritual austerities. Then second one is called Upaya Pratyaya. This is the regular way to realize Asamprajñata Samadhi. That is the main highway. Here the yogis practice differentiation between real and unreal, together with faith, determination, memory, concentration, and also, of course, extreme non-attachment. When the chitta or the mind has been completely restrained, it steadily remains in that state. That is what is called freedom. Well, let us recollect what we discussed while studying the mind anatomically. We said that chitta is a part of the mind. It is matter in subtle form. Each matter has its own nature. Matter has its own natural end too. Until we are able to end the matter, we cannot say that we have ended the tendency of that matter. Chitta has its own tendency, it is matter. Until the chitta is completely ended, the tendency of chitta will not end. Therefore, in the state of complete ending or nirodha, there continues the process that takes the chitta or the mind to its natural end. It is like the momentum. And so continues the impressions of the chitta along with it towards the end of both the mind and its impressions. When this flow also ends, then one attains the freedom or kaivalyam. How does this flow end? Suppose we have lighted a fire and added fuel to it as we needed. But when our target is achieved, our need is over, and we do not need the fire anymore, we stop adding fuel. We call it nirodha, or stopping the action to keep the fire alive. But the fire will not die out immediately. It will become weaker and weaker slowly. This process has been beautifully expressed as prashanta bahita, or increase of peace, in aphorism number 10 in the 3rd chapter of the Yogasutras. We will discuss it when we come to the 3rd chapter and to the 10th aphorism. And then alone the soul attains purity, self-realization and final liberation. This has been said in the 3rd sutra of the 1st chapter of this book, Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. At that moment, the seer is established in its real nature. More about this with much greater details will be discussed in the 4th chapter of this book, Against Proper Setting. Now let me summarize this and introduce the Asampragnata Samadhi and the climax of it. Before I move forward, let me look at some ideas that may help you to understand the great revered Maharshi Patanjali's compassionate heart, and also to appreciate what he has done for the whole of humanity without leveling his spiritual science with any tag of affiliation to any religion or culture. Please allow the great Maharshi Patanjali to hold your hand. Please allow him to remove all the adjectives that are added to you, like your name, your form, your educational certificates, your working experiences, your relations, that you are a mother, a daughter, a sister, an auntie, a partner, a son, a husband, a brother, an uncle, and so on and so forth. Where you and your mind remain, nothing more than that. Do you get the idea, the point? Be prepared and look at the pointing finger of the Maharshi. Do you see that? Then and then try to imagine that to which the finger is pointing. It is easy to see the pointing finger, but he will say, "No, my dear, the finger is not the thing that I want you to look at. Look beyond the finger. Try a bit more and listen." Now we go to this direction. You have only your mind with you. Please remember. There will be no time, no place, and no situation around you. It is you and your mind to some extent. You have a companion. Clear? You and your mind. Let me begin with our own experience. We all have such an experience sometimes in our life, maybe many times in the same day. Suppose you are sitting somewhere and got absorbed in a particular thought of maybe a problem, a great memory, a near and dear one, etc. You have noticed that you lose yourself in that thought. You are lost. People around you will see that your eyes are open but not focused. You forget your existence in time and place. Is it not your experience? Yes. When such thought process or the experience of absorption breaks, you come back to yourself. You realize that so much time has passed and you completely forgot time, place, together with yourself. You forgot time, place, and yourself. You forgot yourself, right? So, we know from our own experience that we can lose ourselves in our thoughts. Let me repeat this. We can lose ourselves in a thought, in a vritti. Clear? Is it not your own experience? This thought process, as we have already known, is nothing but a continuous flow of vrittis in which you lost yourself. The vrittis were about a particular thing, a near and dear one, or a good memory, or something. Okay? That means I can lose myself in a thought which is not me. I can lose myself in my thought which is not me. My thought, different from me. My pen, different from me. So what remained at that period? Not you. You have told that. You have lost yourself in your thought. Not you, but the thought. Right? Clear up to this? Let me repeat it once more. When we are lost in our thought, what remains? Not we, but our thought. Both of us had a journey together inside this asampragnata samadhi. But now you are gone. Only the thought remains. Didn't the Yogasutras warn you in the beginning of the book about something like this? Do you remember it? What is it? The Yogasutras said in the second aphorism, Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga means stopping the modifications of the mind. All right? Then it said in the very next sutra, aphorism number 3, when you are able to do that, you are established in your real nature. Tada drastuhu swarupe avasthanam, in your real nature. In the above example, what we gave, were you lost in the flow of thoughts about yourself? Tada drastuhu swarupe avasthanam, in yourself? No. The thought flow was about some other object, not yourself. Correct? You lost yourself. Then what did it say in the next sutra, in aphorism number 4? Well, what Patanjali warned us about is what you are precisely doing and saying. That I lost myself in my thoughts. Still you don't get it? Well, Patanjali said, in yoga you are established in your real nature. Otherwise, and this is a very serious otherwise, you become one with your vrittis, your thoughts. Vritti sarupyam. If you are not one with yourself, you become your thoughts. Either you become yourself or you become your thoughts. Now say it like this. I am equal to my thoughts. So, when we are lost in thoughts, we actually lose us. And what remains? The thought only remains. Correct? That's what the Upanishads also warn about. You become one with your thoughts, your vrittis. That means you are an apple vritti. Patanjali said that if you are not with yourself or in yourself, then where are you? You are equal to your thoughts. You are an apple. Well, the apple is a tolerable example. We could be anything. You could be a problem. You could be equal to a memory. You could be equal to your despair, disappointments, your shame, your mental load, your debts, your failures, and so on and so forth. This is the truth. When you lose yourself in a thought, you become one with your thought. This is not yoga. This is not samadhi. Samadhi is when you become one with yourself. You are established in your real nature. Do you get the point? Contemplate on this and you will learn a great lesson in life. Now Patanjali would explain the same thing in a different way. That's really a great experience, my dear, that you can lose your sense of time, space and situation. In mental science today, it is called to be in a flow or being in the zone or a special mental state. Mental state. It is therefore wonderful for you, my dear, to lose yourself in your thought. It is called a kind of effortless concentration. The object lures you away from yourself. The commercials taken hold of you. Now the great father of yoga steps in and says, what we have discussed so far are all fine, my dear. I am not saying that they are not good, but I ask you, can you reverse this process can you reverse this habit? You know how to lose yourself. Can you reverse this process? Do you understand what I am trying to mean? In the earlier example, you know that you had lost yourself in a thought. Now you are asked to try to lose this thought in yourself. Reverse this process. Nothing more than that. You have your experience. You can lose yourself in a thought. Now try to lose your thought in yourself. Try to lose your thought in yourself. That means when you come back after losing yourself in you, you will surely have the same relieving experience that you lost the sense of time, place and situation. This portion is similar, but you will not feel that you were lost. You will not feel that you were lost. Let me say it again. You will not feel that you were lost in your thought, that you were lost. Okay? Rather, you may analyze that experience and say that, number one, you, like your experience before, did not know anything. And that you did not think any thought during that period. You did not know anything and you did not think any thought during that period. Do you follow me? We will go slowly. Do you know what actually happened during that period when you lost everything in you? No thought but you. Hence no world but you. In the earlier examples, there was no you but the thoughts, the world. In this present practice, there is no thought, no world but you. Can you see the alteration? No subject-object relation. No relation, no object, but only the subject. Only the self in its purest form. You leave everything together with your body. You go in with your mind. At one point, the thoughts stop. The mind stops functioning. You are as you are in your purest form. Have you ever experienced yourself in your purest form? Just try to experience this mesmerizing beauty of a lifetime experience. No, it is an experience which won't allow you to have any more lifetime experience. The next step to understand, when you are with your mind only, when you eliminate the thoughts, that is when you eliminate the vrittis altogether, then what remains? Can you say or imagine what remains? If you can, then you are still in the realm of duality, of the mind as the subject and you as the object. Because you are imagining. So it is not the right process. At this point, actually what happens, the mind has stretched itself to its maximum limit, which is termed as closure by some thinkers. It is a closure. It is like saying that the holes in a net are not so small that it can catch still smaller fishes. The mind has been stretched to the limit. The human mind does not have the capacity to comprehend the self as an object of a vritti. an object of a thought. You cannot know yourself as an object of even your own thoughts. The mind is not all-knowing, omniscient. It will always remain limited. I think this is the truth discovered by the Yogasutras and the Upanishads alike. It is not only difficult to think, but it is not possible to make the self an object of our thoughts, our chittavrittis. The Upanishads say, Tatra manaha amani bhavati, tatra there manaha mind, amani bhavati becomes non-mind. At that point, the mind becomes non-mind, means the mind becomes clueless, helpless, because it has reached its end. No, I am not speaking about anything which is pessimistic. Rather, it is the door to the only meaningful optimism that our existence does not end with the end of the mind. Rather, it opens up the door to the experience of the unlimited, the experiencer, the real observer of the whole drama. But you have to accept that you are not the object. You are the subject, always. When was the time that you never thought that you ever thought that you are not a subject? As long as I can say I, while referring to me, I am the subject. As long as I can think of me as I am the subject. So let us try to lose our thoughts in us. Then we remain as what we really are. Right? Let me repeat. The process is not to lose us in our thoughts, but to lose the thoughts and be us as we are. In the case when you lost yourself in your thought, you came back with a satisfaction, thinking that you felt something special. But when you lose your thoughts in you, there happens one of the two important things. This is very important to be remembered. The two effects are, when you come back to your normal self, either number one, you get scared, remembering a horrible experience of non-existence, or you come back fulfilled and your outlook about everything in the world has transformed. You are no more the same doubting self. You are no more in self-denial. So two things happen. You get scared of an experience of non-existence. That is why your absorption breaks. Or you come back fulfilled. In the first case, the fear of losing yourself in non-existence happens because you are not prepared or trained to detect the true nature of that fear. And therefore, you are not prepared to cope with the scary experience of the non-existence. And as because your mind was not really prepared or trained, you mistook the non-existence as the non-existence of yourself. It is actually the experience of the non-existence of the world. You get scared because you think you have lost the world. You have lost your footing. You mistook one for the other. You wrongly thought that it was an experience of the non-existence of yourself, which it is not. You really experience the non-existence of the world. Time, place, situation. That is the world. But the question is, how can anyone conceive that he or she does not exist? How did you experience non-existence of yourself? How did you experience non-existence? You got scared because you have not developed yourself in the art of how to enter the ultimate samadhi and how to maturely handle with the incredible experience there and thereafter. And this is the reason you positioned the fear of the non-existence on a wrong place, and it broke your concentration. Actually speaking, it is absurd to even think that you lost yourself. It is an untrained mind that can misplace things like this. As long as you are the thinker, you have to exist. As long as you are remembering an experience, you have to be the same existence at both the places, at the place of experience and at the time of recalling it from the memory. As long as you are the experiencer, even of the non-existence, you have to exist. Right? So logically speaking, it is irrational to say that I experienced my non-existence. I experienced my non-existence. A ridiculous sentence indeed. You have never heard any meaningless sentence like this. Very outlandish is the idea itself. Is it not so? This should be so, and it is so. There is no other possibility. You may remember that this experience of fear created a Ramana Maharshi. He knew that the fear of non-existence was about the world. Do you get it? And that is why immediately after that Ramana rushed in search of the truth, which is existence itself. He had that competence. Let me recall that story as it unfolded in Ramana's own words and also from authentic sources. One afternoon, the young Ramana, for no apparent reason, was overwhelmed by a sudden, violent fear of death. Years later, he narrated this experience as follows. It was about 6 weeks before I left, it is his quotation. It was about 6 weeks before I left Madura for good that a great change in my life took place. It was quite sudden. I was sitting in a room on the first floor of my uncle's house. I seldom had any sickness, and on that day there was nothing wrong with my health. But a sudden and violent fear of death overtook me. There was nothing in my state of health to account for it. I just felt I am going to die and began thinking what to do about it. I felt that I had to solve the problem myself then and there. I felt that I had to solve the problem myself then and there. Well then, he told himself, this body is dead. It will be carried off to the burning ground and there burnt and reduced to ashes. But with the death of this body, am I dead? Is the body I? It is silent and inert, but I feel the full force of my personality and even the voice of the I within me apart from it. So I am spirit transcending the limitations of my body. The body dies, but the spirit that transcends it, that cannot be touched by death. This means I am the deathless spirit. I was something very real, the only real thing about my present state. Fear of death had vanished once and for all. Absorption in the self continued unbroken from that time on. How did it continue unbroken? We may ask this question. He speaks of how to lead a practical life after one has decided to be in the presence of one's own self. To be in the presence of our own self. To face ourselves. This is critically important for the practice of getting rid of the fear of being deprived of our world, our material enjoyments, our body. This is the practice of dispassion or detachment. Let us listen to him once again. He continued to narrate. Other thoughts might come up and go like the various notes of music, but the I continued like the fundamental same continuous note that underlies and also blends with all the other notes. Please remember this word underlies for our future reference. Whether the body was engaged in talking, reading or anything else, he writes, I was still centered on I. I was still centered on I. Let me stress these 2 points. The body was engaged in talking, etc., he is saying, and I was still centered on I. The purpose is always there underlying everything, in spite of the outward and surface disturbances. That is about the first case, when we face the fear of non-existence. And now let us probe further. Just one more question. What is the experience of this samadhi as it is in itself? What positive experience does one get? Can one give us a near idea about this, what is waiting there for us? We have to turn our attention to a master stroke given by none other than Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna's first complete vision, in his own words, like this. It was as if houses, doors, temples and all other things vanished altogether. As if there was nothing anywhere, and what I saw was a boundless infinite consciousness, sea of light. However far and in whatever direction I looked, I found a continuous succession of effulgent waves coming forward, raging and storming from all sides with a great speed. Very soon they fell on me and made me sink to the unknown bottom. I panted, I struggled, and I fell unconscious. He fell unconscious. The meaning of this unconsciousness is he cannot explain it further. Not possible. But at least we get some idea of that experience, that illumination. It is all light, knowledge. In non-dual experience, this is called knowledge. Prapanchopasamam Shivam Advaitam. This is called Turiyam. All the variegated creation, prapancha, upasamam, lost its meaning in one Shivam, auspicious Advaitam, non-dual. All the variegated creation lost its meaning in one non-dual auspiciousness. Well, this is an experience of non-duality. Yoga does not speak of this full experience of one being lost in the whole. It speaks of the individual's experience of itself, which is as good a narrative as this is. Now we have to look at the practicalities about attaining this experience. Patanjali spoke so passionately about the preparation of the meditator while describing the 6 samadhis in the Samprajñata group. If one is trained in this gradual process of gradual progress, one is sure to reach freedom instead of fear. Preparation is necessary and compulsory. You may go back to your discussion, to our discussion on all the preparatory steps in the form of different samadhis. They are called the milestone, we remember. In the Samprajñata group, there is an underlying mental and spiritual science. The objects of our samadhis changing from gross object with vikalpas, then gross objects without vikalpas, then subtle objects with vikalpas, then subtle objects without vikalpas. With vikalpas means the additions. Then the mind, then I consciousness. Then comes asamprajñata samadhi without the I but only consciousness. This whole process is known as upaya pratyaya, the practical disciplines. There may be very rare cases in which people do have an experience of the self without training oneself in that, in the art of that. This does not help in the long run because it is not a total realization. It fades away as quickly as it comes. Otherwise also it is not a good experience, at least for the unprepared person. You will meet people who do have a glimpse of such realization. But this realization unsettles them at first mentally and then physically. Emotions or feelings that they have become someone special with spiritual enlightenment would drive them crazy. This conviction will be too strong for them to control, and it makes them do something that they do not intend to do normally. Finally, doubts start clouding the mind, and the person may degrade himself or herself to a less credible person. Sri Ramakrishna had a nephew, Hriday. He was brought to Dakshineshwar, where Sri Ramakrishna used to live, to serve Sri Ramakrishna. During his spiritual experiments, Sri Ramakrishna used to have ecstatic states for a long time and many times a day. Hence, he would be unable to bring down his mind to engage it in his own personal needs. Hriday used to take care of him. While he lived in the company of Sri Ramakrishna, Hriday used to see how, by a mere wish, a mere touch, a mere glance, Sri Ramakrishna would give his disciples the experiences of ecstasy, God vision, etc. Hriday wanted to have such experiences. He was constantly living with his uncle Sri Ramakrishna, and he was not blessed with any such experience. He could not bear with that idea. He pestered Sri Ramakrishna to grant him such God vision. Sri Ramakrishna used to discourage him, saying, "These things are not meant for you. You do not need them. It is enough that you are with me." But Hriday would not leave him at peace. Hriday did not have to wait for long when he too had a vision. One night, Hriday saw that the master was going towards Panchavati. Panchavati, there was a grove of trees. Thinking that the master might require his help, he followed him. As he was going, Hriday had an extraordinary vision. He saw that the master was not a human being, that he was not composed of flesh and blood, that the Panchavati was illumined by the light coming out of the body of Sri Ramakrishna, and that while Sri Ramakrishna was walking, neither of his feet, which were also of light, did touch the ground, but carried him through the air. Taking all this to be an optical illusion, Hriday rubbed his eyes again and again to no purpose. Although he saw all other things, trees, creepers, the Ganga, the hut, etc., to be what they were, he repeatedly saw Sri Ramakrishna in that luminous form. Extremely amazed and afraid, scared, he looked at his own body and saw that he too was an effulgent being, made of light, an attendant and companion of God himself. His heart was flooded with strong current of bliss. He forgot himself. Then he cried aloud, repeatedly, like a mad person, "O Ramakrishna, O Ramakrishna, we are not mortal beings. Why are we here? Come, let us go from country to country, preach unto people, set the souls free from bondage. I am also what you are, O Ramakrishna, we are one and the same." Then Sri Ramakrishna, hearing him crying out thus, then he patted on the chest of Hriday and said, Stop. What's the matter with us that you are doing all this?" But did he give ear to it all? Then Sri Ramakrishna hurriedly touched his heart again and said, "O mother, make this fellow dull and drab again. Make this fellow dull and drab again." That's what Swami Vivekananda said. Thus fallen suddenly from the state of ecstasy, Hriday's mind was filled with dejection. He started sobbing, saying, "Uncle, why did you do this? Why did you say that I should become dull?" That is what Swami Vivekananda wanted us, saying, when persons without training and preparation try to make their minds vacant, they are likely to succeed only in making the mind dull and stupid. The second possibility that we enumerated is the result of undergoing the whole process of this samadhi with tenacity religiously. Or it is natural for the great ones like the incarnations of God or the prophets. Holy Mother Sarada Devi spoke about her such experiences with evident ease. Such experiences would come and go, but would not unsettle them. Sri Ramakrishna would experience it sometimes, many times in the same day, in course of the day. In essence, Asampragnata Samadhi, which, by the way, has been termed by one of our listeners last time as awesome prajnata samadhi. Awesome, it is awesome indeed. Is a practice of losing my thoughts in me and being me. That's what Ramana Maharshi has said. That I was trying to lose myself in I. Time, space, and all changeful things become non-existent. Not you. Time, space, and all changeful things become non-existent. Your thoughts too become non-existence. Then you are alone but not lonely. You enjoy your own company. You are with yourself. So, if we have to be always in our own company and experience our inner bliss, then what we have to do? We have to lose time, space, and situations in our thought, and we have to lose our thoughts in our own being, in us. Samprajnata Samadhi started its journey taking us by the hand, step by step, through all 6 milestones. And after the 6th one, where you discovered yourself as only the I consciousness, after that 6th one, you have come as I and consciousness. You entered the field of asamprajnata samadhi as I and consciousness. The question, who am I, is answered this way. I consciousness? You are asking the question, who am I? The answer is consciousness. That's what we saw in the experience of Sri Ramakrishna and in the experience of Ramana Maharshi. The unprepared mind finds the fear of losing the world as the fear of losing consciousness. And the prepared mind positively loses this I and is the consciousness. There is no two. These pestering thoughts which Patanjali warned us about are no more there. And when the thoughts are not there, the vrittis are not there, the world is not there. Vritti sarupyam itaratra. Maharshi says, yoga will help you to establish you in your own state, on your own real nature. Otherwise, what will happen? You will be equal to your thoughts. Vritti sarupyam. You will take the form of your vritti, and there can be any number of vrittis, any types of vrittis, and you will define yourself with those colors. So, asamprajnata samadhi is losing this I in that consciousness. But the difference between non-dual experience of consciousness and the experience of individual consciousness is that it is maybe qualitatively similar. Same type of experience of effulgence, same type of experience of light, same type of experience of knowledge. Because these are the nature of yourself, the nature of this you who lost yourself in your thoughts. Now you regain yourself and your thoughts are lost. What remains is you in your real nature. And that is the climax of this asamprajnata samadhi. Thank you. Our time is up.